Henry Winkler, you play Gene Cousineau in HBO's very funny, very dark Barry. You've been on TV for many, many years, but we'll focus a little on Barry first. What drew you to this character of playing a down on his luck acting coach?
Okay, first of all, the writing. Second of all, Bill Hader. And then third of all, Alec Berg. Alec Berg, for those of you who don't know, is a writer who did Curb Your Enthusiasm, who did Seinfeld, who is one of the showrunners on Silicon Valley for HBO. And Bill Hader had a deal at HBO. Alec Berg had a deal at HBO. Somebody said, "Hey, why don't you guys have coffee?" And they wrote one of the best scripts I have written, I have read in a long time.
Tell me about, I'm sure you've had an acting coach at some point in your career, and you've met a lot of them. Is this sort of your revenge on those bad acting coaches, or more of a tribute to the good ones?
Do you know what it is? I have had a very good and very bad. In terms of teachers. I have heard about very bad teachers. I have researched very bad teachers. There is a teacher I heard about who had this incredible class of young actors who were baristas and waiters and travel agents, and he made them buy his art. They made almost no money, enough money to survive, and he made them buy his paintings. That was the kernel I started with.
Wow, that's deep. That's deep. When you think about Gene and his character, any character really, on any new show, it takes a little while for that character to click for audiences. And I didn't know how to take him at first and thought, is he just a hack or is there more to him? And I think by episode 4, when he has the bad audition, there's just something about the way that you were able to portray that really, really affected me. And I'm wondering how it affected you, given, your history as an actor, and you've been through ups and downs. What's it like to play a guy like Gene?
Well, they say that if you can't do, teach. And, for Gene, if you lose a commercial to a gecko, you should teach. And somewhere deep down he loves his students. What I heard, I didn't know this at first, but what I heard from Bill and Alec, the creators, they wrote him darker and meaner. And as I started to play him, they started to write him with more of me involved. So there is a kind of pathos they didn't envision.
Wow, because the thing is, Barry can be quite dark, and it's hard to even explain to people who haven't seen the show that it's a dark show. And
when you're watching Barry, sometimes you need a flashlight. It gets
it gets that damn dark, right? Oh. But I think your character is one of the elements of the show that kind of gives it the comedy. Along with obviously Anthony Carrigan and Bill Hader and so many fantastic comedic actors. But has the show met your expectations? Like, what were you expecting going into the show, and has it met your expectations?
Do you know, the truth of the matter is, and I've said this before, when I read the script, it was like reading cashmere instead of like a cotton blend, which so many scripts are. It has surpassed my expectation, to the point where we were picked up for a second season after the 3rd episode aired. And somebody said to me, "Well, do you know what the second season is about? What do you think?" And I said, "You know what? I don't even think about it. If the first season is any indication, the second season has got to be great, because these guys and their room of writers are so thoughtful and so generous and so skilled that I just sit back, buckle my seatbelt and go for the ride."
I interviewed Bill Hader a couple of years ago, and I told him I had done some research on him, He, out of all 43 years of SNL, nobody has done more impressions than him.
Yes.
So he's such a talented guy. What's he like working with across the scene from him?
Okay, so he is a co-creator. He's a co-writer. He is a co-producer. He has directed 2 of the first 8 episodes, and he stars in it. He is walking funny, even when he plays Barry, who is deeply conflicted. Before the camera rolls, after the camera rolls, and he enjoys his acting partner, whoever is playing opposite. You will make him laugh if you do something funny. He will break up, and then you do it again. He really is a wonder. And
Does he have a Henry Winkler impression? Has he given you a Henry Winkler impression yet?
No, not yet. But it is so much fun to make him laugh. You feel amazing. I made him laugh for the first time during the audition for the scene. I had to audition for the series, and when out of the corner of my eye, I thought to myself, I'm making Bill Hader laugh. This is good.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. You've worked with so many great actors over the years. Have you got anyone in mind that you would love for Gene to critique in an audition in one of his classes? Because I think that'd be really cool.
Oh, wow, that is interesting. You know what? I never thought of that. I would like to have Anthony Hopkins, Ryan Gosling in my class. That would be amazing, because I really could improve their career.
Oh, he's got to audition for a Ron Howard movie at some point, right?
Gene or Barry?
You could be along to assist, or you could be the one auditioning. That would be fun.
Wouldn't that be amazing? I have been in one Ron Howard movie, which was Night Shift, one of my favorite films, actually. I just spoke to him this morning, driving to my writing partner's office, and I congratulated him. It premiered last night. The solo film premiered last night. And we talked about Arrested Development. And I have not seen it. It goes on in May here, May 29th, I think. And he said, your character is funny. And I thought, okay, this is good. This is good. I'm having a great year.
Absolutely. Well, speaking of great years, it would be so cool to see you back at the Emmys as a nominee. You were first nominated way back in 1976, and you've got a few nominations for Happy Days, and you were also nominated for The Practice in 2000. What would it feel like to be back on at the Emmys as a nominee and actually win that first primetime Emmy? It's been a while.
Well, you know what? I cannot even go to thinking about winning. It would be an honor. Here's the truth. You know what? Here's the truth. It is an honor to be nominated. And that honor lasts all the way until your tush hits the seat. And all you want to do then is win. That whole business of, hey, just to be nominated is great. It is, until your tush is in the seat. And when it touches that velvet, all bets are off. And that's the truth.
We had one of this year, or no, it was one of last year's Oscar nominees. I'm trying to remember who it was, said the same thing, said they were so calm and enjoying the whole season. And, oh, if I win, that's great. If I don't win, that's great. I'm glad to be a nominee. When they sat down, they thought, hey, now that I'm here, I really want to win this thing.
I'm telling you, I can't even think about winning. As a matter of fact, now it's a month or two. I can't even think about being nominated. To be talked about in this way feels great. I have to say that. To be nominated, I've done a lot of things. And people talk to me about, of course, Happy Days. They talk to me about Scream. about Waterboy, about Parks and Rec, about Royal Pains, you know, and now Barry. Also the travel show, you know, people love Better Late Than Never. But the talk about, when they talk about Barry or what's being written about the show as a whole, is a whole other kettle of fish. It really feels great, I must say.
I went back and watched something you did a few years ago. Speaking of Emmy Awards, recently, I found it on YouTube. Yeah. You hosted the 79 Emmys, co-hosted.
With Cheryl Ladd.
Yeah, tell us about that experience.
Okay, here it is. I had a tuxedo made. We went to a tailor in Hollywood, and he made me this beautiful tuxedo. It was wool. And then we got to the Emmys, and the hall was not air conditioned because they put velour over the outlets, over the vents. And I lost weight is what.
No.
You know what? At that time, I was a different guy, and I was not relaxed. And I wish I could have some of my performances back. I wish I could have, you know, some of that hosting back. It would just be a whole other experience. I was too nervous.
Well, speaking of you know, Emmy history and being around for a while, the Emmys lately have been awarding veteran actors that they love, that they perceive to be having a career renaissance. Like Gerald McRaney won last year, and Ann Dowd, and Margot Martindale's, you know, now a huge star after winning that Emmy for Justified a few years ago.
Can I just say, Miss Martindale, I met her backstage when I unfortunately had to give the memorial for Gary Marshall at the Emmys. She is great because she is limitless. I just want to say that. She's funny. She can do drama on The Americans. She's
incredible. And that's the thing. So like there's a lot of these actors that we all love and that that are finally receiving that recognition from the Emmys. What would it mean to you to actually what does it mean when people like recognize your work in a show like Barry and say, you know, you've been around for a long time, we loved you on Happy Days, but now we really love you in this?
What an amazing thing. Here's the truth. At 27, when I did the Fonz, I was the oldest teenager in captivity. When I was doing that show, you know, I changed my voice and, you know, it like unleashed my imagination, you know? But outside of that character, I was not the actor that I wanted to be. So I was 27. Right now, I am 72 and a half. And I am beginning to become the actor I dreamt of being in 1974, in 1975. I just flipped the numbers, 27 to 72. And I'm telling you, I am having a time of my life. Honest to God, it just is, that's the truth. I am just enjoying myself beyond all recognition.
I got one other awards question. Yes. Television Academy has a Hall of Fame, and some of your favorite people in the world, Gary Marshall, Michael Eisner, Ron Howard, they've all been inducted. I was talking to Ron about this last year when I was interviewing him. We can't believe that you haven't been inducted yet. You were the biggest. I don't think there was a bigger star on the planet than you in the 70s. And you've had so many other, we haven't even talked about producing MacGyver and Hollywood Squares and your directing work. I mean, you've done a lot on television in your career. If they were to give you that call and say, hey, you're going to be inducted into the TV Hall of Fame, what would that mean to you?
That would be an unbelievable recognition. It would be an unbelievable honor. As a matter of fact, Barry, the entire cast, they flew everybody that lived in New York out, and we were all there. John Mulaney, who is one of the funniest people on the planet, was our host, and we did a question and answer period for the Academy Tuesday, I think. It was great to be in that beautiful building, you know. But it is what it is.
We just have to wait and see. You know, you never know. You never know your luck. Henry, we really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much, and congratulations on a really funny role in Barry, and good luck for the Emmys this year.
It was a pleasure to chat with you.